I'm your host, Emily Lauren Dick. Welcome to the Tame the Shame podcast, where we celebrate those shamelessly being themselves. We're here to inspire you to live a perfectly imperfect life, embrace the body you've got, and take back your power so you can live the life you want. Stick around if you want to listen to me get comfortably uncomfortable with all the things that make us feel ashamed. Welcome everyone to the Tame the Shame podcast show. Today I'd like to welcome Samantha Klein, a healer and mystic who teaches women to develop their psychic abilities. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I am so excited to have you here.
Thanks, Emily. I'm excited too.
So as a psychic medium, can you share your personal journey of spiritual awakening and how it shaped your abilities today?
Sure. Well, for me, I always loved spiritual things as a child. I was very into astrology and dreaming and creating those kinds of things. Very imaginative child. Lots of stories in my head and, playing those stories out. And I was always very, very interested, but I never thought of myself as a psychic or a medium. I have lots of friends. As I grew, I definitely put myself in the position to be in those groups and had a lot of psychics and mediums in my friend groups, in my peer groups. But I just didn't think that I had the gift. I think I was confused, or the information just wasn't available to me that I could do this too.
Wow.
And so I just honestly thought that psychic mediumship just passed me by. That psychics were people who were born with it, or people who their grandmothers were oracles, or their grandmothers always saw visions and now they do, or even people who used to see ghosts as a child, that kind of a thing. And
Yes.
for me, that wasn't my experience at all. I don't really have any of those scary childhood moments. I do have a lot of clients that do have that experience. It's very common. But for me personally, it was a conscious decision to develop my psychic and intuitive gifts that I did. So it took me a long time to understand I could do that. And then a long time for me to have enough confidence and worth to try it. And I was lucky to have, like I said, I put myself in the right position, surrounded by people who cared about me, who were like, okay, Sam, it's time. Like, when are you going to say yes to practicing your gifts? And finally I just said, okay, all right, I'll do it. It was a long process, of believing in myself, of trying something uncomfortable, of trying something new, but definitely of believing that I could do it too. That was a big thing that I had to, a big hurdle I had to cross.
I find that so fascinating because we really do the stories that we hear about people who are psychic, it's one of those things that they just had. So I find it so fascinating that this is something you can actually learn. Did you ever encounter any feelings of shame or doubt throughout this process? And if you did, how did you navigate through them?
Oh yeah, 100%. And to be honest, lots of people do, even psychics and mediums who already even know that they can do this work. The biggest thing I hear from my clients and from friends is, am I making this up? Am I making this up? I'm just making this up. And it's totally common to have that thought because you're interacting with information that's unseen. So it's spiritual information. You can't pick it up. It's not a coffee cup. It's not a book that you read. It's spiritual information. So our world that we live in right now really supports things you can touch and see.
Yeah.
So within us is those belief systems that it's not real if I can't touch it. So you have to, when you're training in your psychic mediumship, you have to pass through that. I don't know anybody who's not had to go through the doubt of, is this real? Am I making this up?
Wow. Yeah. Cause I think I'd be like, am I dreaming? Am I? Yeah.
Yeah. Am I imagining this? All that
Yes.
kind of stuff. Because it does exist in the same part of the brain.
Hmm.
You can use imagination as a doorway to psychic information. So
Hmm.
it just honestly, and I know like I feel people are tired of hearing this from me, but it just takes practice.
I
So you just
love
have to
that.
practice, and then you'll figure out the tone and the difference of when you are consciously imagining and when you're interacting with spiritual information. There's a difference, but it just takes time, and
To
you have
figure
to,
it out in
yeah,
practice. Yeah.
and you have to
Kind of
believe
like
in yourself.
the difference between anxiety and intuition, right? Like
Oh yeah,
I always like is this my intuition? Is this my
yeah,
gut? Or is this, my anxiety telling me, oh, you need to think this, you
yeah.
need to do this?
Yeah, or even your programs and your trauma, right? Your
Yes.
experiences, are they driving your behavior or your choices? Yeah, 100%. I think something that always helped me with that is that intuition is rarely emotional.
Mm.
It doesn't have, it has a charge, but it has a different charge to it. It's not an emotional reaction. Your intuition should feel really neutral,
Yes.
and fear has like a charge, like, oh, oh, I got to do this now, or I have to back
Yeah.
away from this, or like I'm scared, or I'm sad, or I'm mad. Whereas intuition is just kind of like, okay, I
Yeah,
know.
it's calming, right? Like it's
Yeah, yeah.
not. Yeah, I love
It
that.
doesn't have emotion usually in it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's common for psychic information as well, except for when you're talking to past over loved ones. Sometimes they make you
Mm.
feel a lot of emotion, but
Yeah.
usually when you're doing psychic work, it's very like kind of matter of fact information.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
So
it's neat.
you are a self-taught psychic, and now you help other people tap into their gifts because you
Yeah.
believe that we all have the capacity to access them. Tell me a little bit more about this.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it just follows my experience and my journey. And I just want to empower other people to do this for themselves and understand that they can too. Because when I was first starting out, it was very much like, first I had the realization, like, okay, I can do this. And second was like, well, how? And I just
Yeah.
remember scouring the internet, YouTube videos, blogs, articles, books. I bought a ton of books. Like, if somebody just tells me how to do this, I can concentrate and I can do this, if you give me a step system and I'll practice. And I found the information about how to tune into your psychic gifts to be very ambiguous.
Hmm.
They're kind of confusing or not really making sense. So once I figured out how to do it, I was like, I'm going to tell everybody. Like,
Yes.
I figured this out. It's easy. There's only 3 steps. Everybody can do it.
You cracked the
I'm just
code.
Yeah, I cracked the code. Listen, like, I just really wanted to clear it up. But clarity is a lot about my message. I
Hmm.
hear that a lot from spirit. It comes out in my marketing and even my sessions. I remember a couple years ago, my sessions were called clarity sessions. There's a lot about me that likes to clear things up for
Mm.
people. Just like, okay, it's
I
not that
love
hard. Let's
that.
do it. It's like this. Yeah. So that's why
Amazing.
I teach it, mostly because I want to help people who might feel confused about it, who really want to do it but don't know how. But also, there's a need inside of me to help with healing on the planet. I feel
Mm.
that we are very disconnected from our intuition, but it's rising,
Yes.
and
You
I want to be a part of that movement. I don't know exactly where we're going with it, but I feel a very strong urge that especially women are being called to be more in touch with their intuition and live from that place, make decisions from that place,
Mhm.
like make decisions for their family, for their work, for their love, with with intuition. So that's why I'm doing this work, because I want to be a part of that.
I
I'm like
love
I'm like
that.
oh I'm like, I got my backpack and
Let's
I'm
do
joining
this.
in. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I love that. So
Like
what
it feels like a
would
revolution.
you
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who is maybe a little scared to tap into this part of themselves but still has that seedling of curiosity within?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, there's a lot of different fears that come up. Sometimes they're religious in nature. I've encountered
Mm.
some people who, there's texts and things like that in the Bible that say you should not be connecting to God yourself or
Mm.
things like that. Or you should not be connecting to past over loved ones. And there's old movies and still thought forms out there that teach that it's bad.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I encounter that fear. So I just want to let everybody know that connecting with spiritual information is connecting with yourself,
Mm.
and you're allowed to connect with yourself.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Oh,
you
that's
don't, you don't,
perfect.
yeah, you
That's
don't
a
have to
perfect
feel,
explanation.
you don't have to feel bad. You're not doing anything wrong. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. It's just a way of deepening your connection to yourself. You'll see
Mm.
once you start using your psychic senses and connecting to spiritual information, you'll watch it just come back to yourself and fill yourself. And you go, oh, this was about me all along. I'm just feeling better.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling better now. Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
When I had my spiritual awakening a few years
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
I found it was like a really confusing, but also really empowering time. And a big
Yeah.
thing that came up for me was that I wanted to know more. Like I was so open to knowing more, but the fear of how all of this works,
Yeah.
if I should be scared of certain things or entities,
Yeah.
why is being psychic or talking with spirit not something that should be scary?
Yeah.
And can you confirm to us all that we are relatively safe from
Yeah.
harm?
Yeah. There's different schools of thought. So you can go down the rabbit hole with different, different modalities believe different things. Like if you want to research about shamanism or Celtic spirituality, but there are these things called entities that spiritual people talk about. And for me, I see it simply as energy. So every time we
Mm.
interact with each other, if we have a conversation that doesn't go well and there's anger, or somebody says something wrong, or somebody steals something from someone else, or something like that, it creates energy. There's energy, like it's not just invisible, right? So it just kind of can float up in
Hi.
the atmosphere, and it's almost like when you enter a room where people were fighting, they're all done fighting,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's like, why does it feel weird in here? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's kind of entities. And if you're tapping into a spiritual information stream where that is, it will show itself to you so you can understand it. But
Okay.
it's not going to like attach onto your neck and you can never get
Yes.
it off or
Yeah.
something. You know what I mean?
So
But
they can't hurt you, but they can affect you
no,
emotionally
they can connect to
or
you.
energetically. Yeah.
You're connecting to them or they're connecting to you, but it's for information purposes only. Like you're just
Okay.
reading it. It doesn't mean
Mm.
you're in danger. You're always in control. You have your body. You're
Mhm.
in control of your body and your sphere, your aura. But there's no harm in connecting with darker information. The world is not all light. There's depression, there's mental illness, there's
Mhm.
people are hurt and angry, and that is in the world too. So I think it's really, I don't know what the right word is, but not silly, but unrealistic to think if you're going to be tapping in spiritually that you might not come up against something that's not always perfect and nice and shiny and bright.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna find some, especially if you're reading like somebody who's suffering, which is really
Mhm.
normal. Somebody who's going through something. Yeah, you're probably gonna read an entity and talk. talk with it, maybe.
Wow.
But it's okay. You get to, so I can teach you, yeah, I can teach you a tip too if you want. If like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So anytime you feel afraid of connecting spiritually, or you know that you're connecting to something dark, somebody's darkness, or you've come up against it, you use your heart energy
Mm.
to beam out, and it creates like a field around you. Love trumps all. So love,
Mm.
like it's almost like, when you're playing poker or whatever, love is the highest card. So all you have
Ah,
to do is come back into yourself, take a few deep breaths, and connect to your chest, connect to your heart chakra, connect to your physical heart, connect to the color pink, the color red, like you. Like you're it's all
that
over
I'm
you.
so on brand for keeping
Totally
it
fun, right?
positive.
Yeah. So you just connect to that part of yourself, connect into it, put your almost like curl your whole body into your heart. And then as
Mm.
you breathe out of your heart space and just pump that energy out around you. And you'll see that the darkness just falls, just like almost like dead mosquitoes. It just falls to the
I
floor.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
So you always come to the heart, come back to the heart. Anytime you're scared, come back to your heart.
That's perfect. I also want
Yeah.
to talk about maybe your explanation for
Yeah.
why people come to this earth and experience things like pain or
Yeah.
illness or tragedy, suffering in general. Um,
Yeah.
you know, what is the purpose of
Yeah.
that?
That's a really great question, because I know a lot of spiritual people will say that everything has a purpose, and that there's lessons within everything that happens, even
Hmm.
hard times. And I do believe that to a certain point. I think that we can learn from everything, even hard times. But I also believe that sometimes bad things just happen.
Mm.
And, we're living a human life, like we're here living a human life. Connecting with our spirit self and our spirituality makes us feel more whole, but it doesn't take away your physicality. It doesn't, like, the purpose of connecting spiritually is not to make your body go poof, I
Yes.
don't have to live here anymore. No, it's
Hmm.
it's to make you feel more whole. It's to bring your body more into color, almost like it's to bring the blood back to your body. Like that's the reason. So you're gonna experience human stuff.
Yeah,
You're gonna
absolutely.
experience loss and illness in your family, and hopefully not things that are too shocking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that you can find the lessons in
Hmm.
things, but you don't have to find the lessons right away. You know,
Yeah,
it's okay to feel really sad and hurt and angry
of
uh, when
course.
bad things happen, and question God and
Hmm.
yell, it, you
Hmm.
know, and just be like, why? The all of those things are very um, are a big part of your healing journey. And then after you're on the other side of it, you can then see what lessons were there for you.
Absolutely. So, as a spiritual person, why is it important to be both connected to our spirituality and at the same time still be very present here on earth in our current human life?
Yeah. Well, I always think about it like when I first started connecting, I loved being in. When I figured it out, I was like, "This is the best place ever. I never want to come back." It
Hmm.
feels so good to be in the stream of consciousness and the stream of love. And especially if you're suffering, it's hard to come back to your body. So a lot of
Hmm.
people just stay up there. And it took me a while also, because I was like, wow, I'm finally figuring this out. If I come
Yes.
back to my body, it'll all go away. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, if you just live your human life doing
Yeah.
the human
I was like,
things.
I just figured this out. Now I got to make it go away. Not the
Yeah.
truth. Actually,
Yeah.
I figured out that your body is like the messenger. So
Mm.
you connect to spirit, but then you bring it through your body so that you can share.
I
Like your
love
body is the
that.
vessel, right?
Yes.
So you use your voice box to share, you use your arms to hug. You have to be in your body to translate the spiritual information. Your body and your human life is just as important as spirit. They're part of the wheel of your life, of your body. They're both
Yeah.
very, very important.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I've heard many different perspectives on how the afterlife works.
Mhm.
And I've gathered that we can always be connected to our loved ones and our
Yeah.
soul can be in multiple places at once. What's your belief in how we're all connected or how we're connected to the people that we share, close relationships with here on earth?
That's such a cool question. Yeah. I would say like when I connect with passed over loved ones, the very first thing I notice, and if you've ever had a mediumship reading or anybody has, is that there's no pain.
Mm,
That the people really want to communicate that they're pain free.
yeah.
Things don't hurt. That's usually a big message. Like, I'm okay now.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, that's something to think about, that when you're in spirit form, you don't have your body, right? So there's no pain from the disease you may have passed from or the accident that happened. You I've never encountered a spirit that's sad.
oh, that's lovely to hear.
100% ever. There,
Mm,
because what I can sense is because your spirit becomes like one with like love consciousness, you
hmm
kind of emulate or emulate the same frequency.
mm,
So it's very the spirits are very loving. Usually you'll hear them say like, I don't hurt anymore, and can you tell them I love them? I'm
hmm
not mad. Nobody's mad. Nobody's
mm.
mad in the spirit world.
I love
Nobody's mad
that.
at all.
That's good. I've also
Yeah.
I've also heard that, and this was like a thing that really like bothered me when I was, asking all the questions, was like,
Yeah.
well, if you can connect to someone in the afterlife, how can we have like past lives and do we have future lives and things like that? And someone told me that the people that are like part of our spirit family, um they don't move on to the next life until like you're all back together again. And
Oh,
I don't know if that's true or what your perspective is on that, but
yeah.
I really liked hearing that. I found that really comforting.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but also I've heard that we can also be in multiple places at once. Like our soul can be in
Yeah.
multiple places. So can
Yeah.
our soul be in the afterlife, but also living another life? Like I'm curious
Yeah.
about that.
That's very curious. Yeah. I know that it's very that you have the ability to connect with people who are living.
Mm,
So it's very possible. One of my grandmothers um, is definitely in the spirit world because she comes through really strong. You can feel her
yeah.
energy like very dense, like right there
Mm,
with me. And the other
yes.
one is very light and doesn't
Mm.
come in so much. And my
Ah.
question I'm thinking is she's somewhere doing something else. I can
Oh.
still talk to her, but it just takes a
Mhm.
lot more effort. So
Interesting.
I don't believe that, like, if one of your spirit family is, living another life right now, I think that you can still speak with that consciousness. It just might
Cool.
take a bit more effort. But I like that idea. Like when you said that, the first thing that popped into my head was like the Avengers. Like a
Yes.
team all back together.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And let's do this
So
again and switch up the roles.
standing on a cloud, like, okay, let's jump in.
I love that. So,
Yeah.
how can connecting with loved ones in the afterlife help people on Earth?
It, yeah, well, that's a great question. It's very hard to describe unless you are in a mediumship reading. But mediumship is extremely healing,
Mm,
and you can use your brain to logic it, but really, it's an experience in the moment, connecting to past over loved ones. some people feel like they get a resolution from speaking, which can be really healing to the spirit. But there's also something that just happens when you're in a mediumship reading that just feels like healing. It
Mm.
just feels like love. You just receive like some kind of loving download, loving energy when you're in a mediumship reading. But you're also somehow being able to connect to their love energy, their love stream. So you can feel that too. Like a mediumship reading is not just, me and the pastor of a loved one talking to you. You're
Yeah.
very much a part of the
Mm.
reading. Your energy is open and available, and you're communicating just as much as I am. It's just that I decided to study this for a living. So
Yeah.
I'm a translator. You know what I mean? Like
I
I'm
think
using,
that's such a cool way of thinking
yeah,
about it.
yeah,
I've
but
never heard that before.
you're open, so you're getting the same messages just in a different way. Like you might not
Mm.
be consciously aware of them, but the messages are flowing through you too. So
Mhm.
people who come out of mediumship readings are generally usually feeling a lot calmer, a lot clearer, and a lot more stable
I
and
love
sure.
that.
Yeah,
I love that. And what
yeah,
would you say to someone who is maybe not open to the idea that there are people who can communicate with the spirit world?
yeah. Normally, I would just say that's okay. That's
Mm.
okay. I don't try and pressure anybody, or I think that everybody's journey is their own.
Hmm.
And usually I don't end up talking to too many people like that.
Right? True. I guess it doesn't happen. They're not going to come to you.
It's like a to each its own, right? Like this is
Yeah.
what makes life beautiful is we all get to choose what
Hmm.
we're interested in and who we interact with and what job we have and where we spend our time and how we fill our life with love. We all get to decide. So if somebody doesn't believe in spirit and they, super love baseball and their life
Yeah.
is about hitting a ball with a bat, then that's awesome. Whatever
And
they
that's okay.
want
Yeah.
to do. I think it's important that we just don't, I'm not over there being like, hey, your dad wants to talk to you. And he's not like trying to shove a baseball bat in my hand. We're just
Yeah.
living our
True.
lives.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, do you ever encounter any cases where shame was carried over from past lives? And how does your work help people release that type of
Yeah.
energetic baggage?
Oh, that's such a good question. Man, you're full of good questions, Emily. This is so
I
good.
try.
Do you do this for a living?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, for me personally, I have a past life that I've been working with lately, that I've been trying to release shame around too. So, um, it's definitely like a gray type of question because I feel like sometimes when you learn about a past life, it can really bring you down,
Mm,
and you might not be ready for that. And there's a question of like, well, what are we doing that for?
yeah.
But also, I feel like once you hear a past life, things start to make a bit more sense. And people love things that make sense. We really
Oh,
love the
yeah.
mind, right? Like, I want to figure that out. Tell me so I can know, you know. So, for instance, this past life that someone helped me tap into was where I was a prisoner and
Mm,
my arms and feet were tied, and the bread was just out of reach.
wow.
So I couldn't have exactly what I wanted.
Hmm.
And when I first heard that, I was devastated. And I have to be careful with myself because I'm a trauma survivor.
Hmm.
So that's something else. Like you don't want to just
Yeah.
tell people past lives just in the grocery store. Like it can really hurt, people if they're not ready.
Hmm.
It's a whole thing. So anyways, I was devastated for about a week. And you're not condemned. Like
Yes.
that's over.
Yeah.
You know, like
You made it through. Yeah.
I'm not living there in the cave anymore.
Hmm.
So I made it through. And it can give you a realization for your behavior patterns, like why I do the things I do sometimes, and that gives me the power back to be like, oh, okay, I don't have to do that anymore. It's almost like it breaks a chain. It breaks the chain
Yes.
within yourself, within your subconscious of like, I don't have to do that anymore. So
Hmm.
that's healing a past life. But you do want to just be careful with them because sometimes they can just bring you down,
Yeah.
you know, so
Absolutely.
watch out for that. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I had one
Mhm.
done and it related to being silenced, which is funny because
Oh,
I feel like I'm working through the shame of like showing up, being heard, being
yeah,
seen,
yeah,
and that is just like become the purpose for very much what I do for work and
yeah,
you know taming shame and
yeah.
all of those things. But once you kind of can understand like why you experience that, you can channel it sometimes for
Mhm.
good in the current life that you're in. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Channel it for good and turn it around, like
Yeah,
you're
heal
turning that
those
around.
things.
Yeah. And also something like, for one of my clients came up, uh, yeah, similar in the silence, but it's interesting to think in this life, what are you doing that's very old? Like
Mm.
you've been doing this a long time. Like this helps me to understand myself more. Like I'm helping other people heal their relationship to spirit because this is in me.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, I don't know how to do this, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you can think to yourself, okay, this is ancient. Like
Mhm.
I've been doing this for lifetimes and I know I have this wisdom within me. I might not know it right now, but if I keep
Mhm.
moving in this space that I feel is right for me, I will make ground on this, and I am living my purpose.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
So please tell us where we can find you online.
Yeah. So you can find me online at samanthaklein.ca.
Perfect.
And but I'm very active on Instagram. I'm a big into stories. I love stories more than posting. I don't know about
Yeah.
you. I don't know what it is. Like I think it's my creative side. I just like to like color my life with like little moments in my stories. I
Hmm.
actually do quite a bit of marketing in my stories, like last minute sales and things like that.
Awesome.
So you can follow me on Instagram. Oh gosh, what is my Instagram handle? I think it's Samantha Ray Klein.
I will include it in the show notes just
Yeah,
in case.
yeah. Yeah, it's Samantha Ray Klein. That's right. They didn't have Samantha.
Perfect.
So it's my middle name is
Love
R-A-E.
it.
Yeah. And my LinkedIn bio has my updates with my mentorship that's coming up in the fall, where I don't have that on my website yet. But you can sign up
Perfect.
for my emails. I also usually send out information through my emails as well.
I love it. And lastly, before you go, if you could
Mhm.
offer one final tip to our listeners, what would that be?
Oh, what final tip? Um, oh,
I
love
always
it. Yeah,
stump
love
everyone at the
it.
end with this one because it's like, what?
Yeah. For me, I would just like to offer a suggestion that the beautiful things that you see in your head have deeper meaning than something you just made up. Maybe
Mm,
you consider that the beautiful things that you see in your head are conversations from your loved ones, are
mm.
conversations from your higher self, are conversations from the spiritual realm, and just let that be there for a little minute for yourself. Like, okay, maybe I'm not making this up.
I
Maybe these
love
are
that.
maybe these are messages for me.
Oh, I think that's such an important tip. And as a constant dreamer, I am going to try and think about it a little bit differently. Oh, thank you so much for coming on the show. I actually really want to join your membership once the kids are back in
Oh,
school, because
yeah.
I am super curious about what you've been teaching, and, like, why not try something new? So
Yeah.
I hope you keep doing this amazing work and keep bringing that light into this world, in this lifetime.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Real Happy Daughter, and remember that it takes immense courage to be yourself in a world that strives for conformity. So be brave and unleash your inner power.